So now what we're going to do is use everything we learned in these past couple lessons about multiplying to solve polynomial equations. So the first thing we're going to do is distribute this 2 and this 3. Then we're going to collect like terms and solve. So 4x minus 2 is equal to 3x minus 6 plus 10. If I combine these two, I get 4x minus 2 equals 3x plus 4. I'm going to add this 2 over and subtract this 3x over, and I get x is equal to 6. So now we're just going to do some more examples practicing solving these polynomial equations. Okay, so we're going to distribute this 2 again, and this 3. 2y plus 2 times 1 is 2, plus 3 times y, 3y, minus 3 times negative 1, 3, 9. So we're going to combine these like terms. We get 5y, positive 2 minus 3, negative 1 is equal to 9. Subtract that 1 over, and we get 5y is equal, or excuse me, add that 1 over. 5y is equal to 10, y is equal to 2. Okay, so this one looks a little more complicated, but the main thing to remember right here is that this negative right here stands for a negative 1. So even though it doesn't look like we have to distribute it, we do, because the sign's going to change when we multiply by that negative 1. So x minus x squared minus 1 times 2x, x times negative 1, negative x, negative 1 times negative 1, positive 1, 5 plus 2x minus 3x squared. Oh, I forgot an x squared on that x right there. So x minus x, those x's are going to go away. Negative x squared minus 3x squared gives me negative 3x squared plus 1 is equal to 5 plus 2x minus 3x. Well, I'm going to bring this 5 over here and subtract or add this 3x onto the side. So that's going to go to 0. 1 minus a negative, or 1 minus 5 gives me negative 4 is equal to 2x. If I divide by 2, get x is equal to negative 2. So we're going to do one last example, and this one's a little more complicated because we have a lot of squaring out to do. But it's really helpful if you remember this little pattern that we figured out when we square binomials. Remember, you get a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So for this one, 2x plus 1 squared, I just have to square the first one, 4x squared, multiply these together, 2x times 1 just be 2x, multiply it by 2, plus 4x, and square this term right here, which is just going to be 1. And this is going to be minus, and at first I'm going to square this first, and I'm going to keep these terms inside parentheses so that I don't forget to distribute this negative 1. So I'm going to do the same thing right here. First squared is 4x squared. These two multiplied, this time it's going to be negative 2x times 2, negative 4x, and square this one, it's still going to be positive 1. I'm going to square this one the same way. X squared, multiply these together, you get 6x times 2 is 12x, plus this one squared, 36, minus x squared. So I'm going to combine these terms on the side just because I know that x squared minus x squared is just going to go to 0. Now I'm going to distribute this negative 1 to each one. So I get 4x squared plus 4x plus 1. Negative 1 times 4x squared, negative 4x squared. Negative 1 times negative 4x is going to give me positive 4x. Negative 1 times positive 1 is going to be negative 1. and I just have 12x plus 36 left on this side. Well, a positive 4x squared and a negative 4x squared is going to cancel. A positive 1 and a negative 1 are going to cancel, and 4x plus 4x is 8x is equal to 12x minus 36. I'm going to subtract the 12x over, and 8 minus 12 is negative 4x is equal to positive 36. Divide by negative 4, I get x is equal to negative 9. So that's all we're going to deal with today. But in our next lesson, we're going to talk about how we can use algebra to solve geometric problems, like in geometry when we find perimeter or area. We're going to use our polynomials to solve those. So make sure you come back and check that out.